So when a new driver gets released, there's all the hype about how good it is, how far it's going to hit the golf ball, you know, just how this should be your new driver. But we forget about the old one, don't we? So in today's video, I'm going to test the new Ping G425 against the older G410, and we're going to see, is it better, and should you be changing driver so soon? Right, so in today's video, I'm going to test the Ping G410 Plus. I've got it set 9 degrees. I've got the weight out into the toe, which very much how I would have the Ping driver set up. I'm going to hit some shots on the driving range, just in range conditions initially. I'm going to hit kind of 5 or 6 shots with G410 first, then G425. And we're going to see just some basic numbers about kind of how the balls fly in, what the ball speed's like, my club speed, general performance. Then we're going to go into almost like a penalty shootout, best of 5, to see, can I find fairway on the simulator? And we're going to see by the end, does G425 come out better than 410? So for any of you guys that are familiar with 410, you know, it's a great driver still. And that adjustable weight around the back was the first time Ping had that adjustability around there. And it's a slightly lighter weight in the 410. So what Ping needed to do was actually be able to move the weight wider to help with controlling the ball flight. Whereas we can see with the Ping G425, the weight's much bigger, heavier, and therefore they don't need to move the weight around quite as much to get a better, Ping claiming, performing driver. So like I said, let's start with G410. I still think it looks really good behind the golf ball. Let's just see how, get some base numbers to start with. So there's my little drawy one. Maybe a bit more shape than normal. And at the moment, that's round about where I'm swinging it. I can maybe get a little quicker, but some pretty solid numbers to start with. Let's go again. Definitely seeing that little drawy one. But again, not the longest, but solid. Again, 155 ball speed, 253 and 270. So we can see, even though my club head speed's back of where I would normally be, I am going to address that over the next few weeks. Good smash factor and solid performance. So let's have another couple with G410. That's a toey one. Really big toey one, but you can see very accurate still, just that little draw. And that's definitely where me having that weight more towards the toe, I see some benefit. But we can see smash factor dropped off a little bit there. Okay, let's go one more with 410. So a bit slower, but again, playable. But we see a little bit of a spread there, but generally front to back dispersion on carry distance is pretty good with 410. Right, so I'm going to swap the shaft over so it's the same shaft. I'm not saying the same shaft works the same in both heads, but when I set both drivers up perfectly in these kind of shootouts, very often the feedback I get is golfers would like to see how it performs with the same shaft in it. So I'll give you guys what you want. So we're going to keep that at 9 degrees. Again, I've got the weight slightly more towards the toe in the Max, but obviously with the weight being heavier, like I said before, it doesn't need moving quite as much. Now, the reason I'm testing the Max against the Plus is the Plus was the most widely appealing of the G410 drivers. And in my opinion, the Max will be the most wide appealing driver out of 425. Now, if you haven't checked my driver review out, pop over, check it out, because I tested all three models in the 425. So if you've already watched it, don't comment. If you haven't watched it, comment and let me know which model you think would be best suited for me. Right then, so G425, let's hit some shots, see how this stacks up. So ball speed, very similar. So a little draw, and all in all, some pretty good numbers for one that was a little low off the club face. That's left. Felt my club face was closed. No driver helps me with that. And I'm not going to take that off because I was watching some stuff about fittings the other day with Rick Shields and Guy on their podcast, and they were talking about how in fittings very often bad shots get taken off. And I know I've maybe done that in videos in the past, but in a fitting I would always let a guy see what their bad shots are, help them understand why. So that for me wasn't strike. My strike was still good. That was just a swing issue for me on that shot. Okay, and again then. So again, a little bit toey. And not great, but okay numbers. Again, very good. So a little bit slower for me on those last couple. But I did notice in my reviews, certainly the Max, I thought was a very accurate driver, and Ping are very big on, you know, they want something that goes a long way, but they don't want distance at the expense of accuracy. So let's go one more with the 425. And again, not bad. Just turning over a smidge, a little bit low toe strike. Right, so as we watched the flights there wasn't a massive amount of difference, but let's look at dispersion, and then let's look at averages to the two drivers before we go and see which one I can hit more fairways with. Right, so dispersion-wise, front to back, very similar with both, and actually side to side, pretty similar with both. I've hit more fairways with the 425 Max. Does that mean the driver's more accurate? Don't know, we'll find out shortly when I set a fairway, an actual fairway on the virtual course on here, and I'm trying to hit a shot into the fairway rather than just looking at how the club performs on distance. Right, so if we look at the averages there, so club head speed 104.4 compared to 105.4. Now, for me, no real reason in that, and I didn't feel I was trying to swing any differently. Here's where it gets interesting though. Ball speed at 153.4 against 153.6. We see smash factor 1.46 against 1.47, so not much in it. We see 247.7 carry against 247.6, so nothing in that. And if we look totals, 267 against 270.6. And the only real reason there being, if anything, just slightly lower spin off the Max than the 410. Right, so it's shootout time. So best of 5 for fairways. So very like a penalty shootout in football or soccer for any of you guys that are watching in America. On the 18th hole at PGA National, where they have the Honda Classic, par 5. So I'm going to alternate shots. So the nice thing for you is you're not going to have to watch me change the head over each time, but we're going to go G425 Max first of all. This is all about which one hits more fairways. It's a good solid strike. And we have a fairway for the G425 Max, 1-0. So next on the tee, the G410. Now, definitely just drew this a little bit more in the test. I'm going to aim fraction right. Oh, I've pulled it. Still 1-0. Right, so clear leader, G425 Max. Shot 2. Again, felt fantastic. Another fairway. Right, so 2-0. Pressure's on now. I need this one to be a fairway finder. Little pulley again. No. No, no, no. So, commanding now is the lead for the 425 Max. See if we can get this one in play. This would at least guarantee a shootout, sudden death. Felt a little bit high, a little bit toey. But again, look at that. Is it staying on? Just. Right, so it's 3-0. This is to keep the game alive. Otherwise, it's a whitewash. Down the right. Definitely turn this one more. 3 of them in the water. So that is game over in the most one-sided shootout you're ever going to see. So in total performance, didn't see a big difference, but once it came down to me hitting the ball onto the fairway, a clear winner and a real obvious choice. But then is that the equipment or is that me? Right, so for me, some interesting, if not wholly surprising results. So just as a matter of interest, guys, let me know what you thought of the new format for the head-to-head driver reviews. I'm kind of quite keen to keep them a bit short, punchy, and I thought not just looking at overall performance, but maybe in that pressure situation of hitting fairways, is that something you guys want to see more of? And would you even like to see me get out on the golf course to put that fairway testing into play? But when we looked at overall performance, not really a big difference between the two, if we're being honest, was there? You know, a yard, couple of yards, and the length I'm hitting the ball, not really probably worth changing. You might still quite like to have the latest one, and if you do and it doesn't perform any differently, that's absolutely fine. But definitely saw with the new driver I hit more fairways. And I think when you look at not just my review, but all the reviews, the feedback about the G425 Max is it's an incredibly accurate driver, but you don't then have to sacrifice your distance because you can still get it set up correctly with loft and shaft to maximize your distance and accuracy. It's definitely got me thinking about, could that go in my bag? Because it's so forgiving and so accurate, could that go in the bag with a 48-inch driver? Might have a chat with somebody later and see if that's a possibility. So guys, hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, like it and share it, comment below and I'll get back to as many people as I can. If you have enjoyed today's content and you don't currently subscribe to my channel, please consider clicking the button below. Remember to ring the notification bell, then you'll find out whenever I drop a new video. Follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Ali Taylor Golf. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.